Hello and welcome to a day in 15 minutes UPSC Prelims Daily Current Affairs by Ekam IAS. Today is 14th December 2019 and the topics for discussion are the Bougainville Island, gross budgetary support, home delivery of services scheme, accessible India campaign, National Financial Reporting Authority, and finally rare earth elements. Coming to the first topic of the day, which is Bougainville Island. Now, the Bougainville Island is actually in news because the Bougainville people or the people of Bougainville has overwhelmingly voted for independence from Papua New Guinea. Coming and talking about this island, the Bougainville Island is the main island of the autonomous region of Bougainville of Papua New Guinea. Okay. Now, this island is the largest island in the Solomon Islands archipelago and it has the world's largest deposits of copper. Now, the Bougainvilleans or the people in the Bougainville are mostly Melanesian in ethnicity and they speak a local language which is called Tok Pisin. Understand, Bougainville Island was actually named after the French navigator Louis Anton de Bougainville. That's all for the first topic. Now coming to the next topic, which is gross budgetary support. Now the gross budgetary support, what is gross budgetary support? This is actually the government support to central plan. Okay, any of the government support to any central plan, that is what you call as gross budgetary support. Now this includes revenue raised by government and also from tax collection. Now the amount to be allocated under different government budgetary support is actually fixed by the Finance Commission. So that is an important point that you have to keep in mind. Finance Commission is actually going to decide how much revenue or how much money should go for different government budgetary support. Now it collects the requirement of all the ministries and fixes the amount based on priority. That's what the Finance Commission does. And like all other budgets, the gross budgetary support also is split into revenue and capital. So we have the revenue component and also the capital component under the gross budgetary support. Now coming to the next topic of the day, which is home delivery of services scheme. Now understand, this is in news because Delhi government has actually added 30 more services to the doorstep delivery scheme. Okay. Now when you're talking about the scheme, this scheme has actually been launched by Delhi government. It's actually been launched by Delhi government and it has been launched in September 2018. And under this scheme, people can actually call a helpline number which is 1076, and with the help of that they can acquire various government documents or other services at their doorsteps. Now under this, the citizens of Delhi will get different services by paying a nominal fee of 50 rupees. Okay, so after paying that, they can retrieve all the important documents or any other services that is being provided by the government. Now, after a citizen has made any request, special people working under the scheme, which are called as mobile sahayak or mobile helpers, will reach the applicant's doorstep to get the necessary details and documents which are needed for that specific document or that specific service. Understand, mobile sahayaks will be equipped with all the instruments or devices needed for carrying out that particular process. They will have biometric devices, they will have cameras, printers, etc. All the things that is required, they will be carrying it with them and they'll come directly to the home. And once they're at their home, they'll collect all this information and then pass it on to the system later on. Now once this information is in the system, all of these information will be processed and the required document will be finally mailed to the citizen's doorstep, and once it is at the doorstep, this person has gotten the document without standing in long queues or any other different hassles of any sort. So very convenient scheme. Understand, the government of Delhi are going to provide different documents under this, like marriage registration, caste and income domicile, to water connections, driving licenses, pension scheme, permanent ID for disabled, etc. There are many other services and documents which are provided by the Delhi government under the scheme. This scheme is a very successful scheme. It is also said that it has a 91% success rate in comparison to any other service delivery scheme that is currently going on in India. Now that's all for this topic. Coming to the next topic, which is Accessible India campaign. Now there is a news because the Accessible India campaign's target had actually missed. Okay, we missed the Accessible India campaign's targets, and because of that the deadline of this campaign has been extended. Coming and talking about what is Accessible India campaign, this is a nationwide flagship campaign of the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, and this department comes under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Basically, this campaign aims to make a barrier-free and conductive environment for Divyagans all over the country. Basically, they are talking for people with disabilities should have a conductive environment all over the country. This campaign has the vision to build an inclusive society in which equal opportunities are provided for the growth and development of Divyagans as a whole. Now this campaign actually has three important components, and the first one is to build an environment accessibility. When you're talking about environment accessibility, what the government actually means is to make government buildings more accessible for the people with disabilities. The second most important component under the under this campaign is transportation system accessibility. And under transportation system accessibility, there are three major legs that the government is aiming for. It is enhancing the proportion and accessibility of, the first one is airports, the second is railways, and the third is actually public transportation system. So we have airports to be enhanced with respect to accessibility, railway stations, and also public transportation systems, basically bus systems. And finally, the third important component under this campaign is the information and communication ecosystem accessibility. Under this thing, the major areas is that is to enhance the proportion and accessibility of using public documents and websites. Okay, public documents and government websites. Public documents and websites. Also, it is to enhance the pool of sign language interpreters. Sign language interpreter. So these are the major components under this Accessible India campaign. Now, Accessible India campaign is in line with the Article 9 of UNCRPD. Now that UNCRPD actually stands for United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And okay, this Article 9, India is a signatory to UNCRPD since 2007. Now another point that you have to keep in mind, specifically from the prelims point of view, is something about the Incheon strategy. Incheon strategy is actually to make the right real for people with disabilities in Asia and Pacific region. So that's all under Accessible India campaign. Going to the next topic of the day, which is National Financial Reporting Authority. Understand, under National Financial, this is a news because the auditors are going to get 90 days to file NRFA 2 form with the NRFA. Coming and talking about NRFA, which is National Financial Reporting Authority, it was constituted in the 1st October of 2018 by the Government of India under the Companies Act of 2013. And this was for the establishment and enforcement of accounting and auditing standards and oversight of work auditors. Coming to the functions and duties under NRFA, the first one is to recommend accounting and auditing policies and standards. Basically, this is to be adopted by the companies for approval by the central government. The next one is monitoring and enforcing compliance, basically with accounting standards and auditing standards. The third one is to oversee the quality of service and suggest measures for improvement in the quality of service. Basically, overseeing the quality of service in the professions associated with ensuring compliance with those kinds of service. Okay. And the fourth one finally is to perform any other function and duties as may be necessary or incidental to the aforesaid functions and duties. Coming to the composition, what are the members under NRFA? It consists of 1 chairman, 3 full-time members and 1 secretary. So that's all under NRFA, and coming to the last and final topic of the day, which is rare earth elements. Understand, there is a news because the United States Army will fund a rare earth plant for weapons development. Now, this decision has been made by the United States Army after China has actually threatened to stop exporting rare earth materials to the US amid the ongoing trade war between the countries. At present, what you need to keep in mind here is that China actually refines approximately 80 to 90% of rare earth metals in the world, and because of that it has a substantial control over the supply of rare earth metals all over the world. Now, coming and talking about rare earth elements or rare earth materials, these rare earth elements are actually a set of 17 metallic elements, and these includes 15 lanthanides, and in addition to that we have scandium and yttrium. Now, scandium and yttrium are considered rare earth elements because they tend to occur in the same ore deposits as lanthanides and exhibit similar chemical properties. Understand, just because these things are called rare earth elements, it is not true that they are actually rare to find. They are actually very abundant in the earth's crust. The problem is, it is not abundant enough to actually extract them profitably. That is the reason why it is called as a rare earth element. Now, when you come and talk about the applications of rare earth elements, understand rare earth elements are actually very essential for practically almost everything in our daily lives of a person to the daily life of a country also. Rare earth elements play an extremely important role in the defense of a country. The military actually uses rare earth elements for night vision goggles, precision guided weapons, communication equipments, GPS guided equipments, batteries, etc. So there are many applications in the defense for rare earth metals. Now, these rare earth metals are actually key ingredients for making very hard alloys used in armored vehicles. Okay, so for protection of our troops, for armored vehicles also these elements are used. They have very distinctive electrical, metallurgical, catalytic, nuclear, magnetic and luminescent properties. And their range of uses actually goes from daily use, which includes lighters, glass polishing mediums, car alternators, to high-end technology equipments also, like lasers, very strong magnets, batteries, fiber optic telecommunication cables, etc. So the range for application is very wide. Understand, even futuristic technologies also require rare earth elements. Now, I'll give an example. High temperature superconductivity, safe storage and transport of hydrogen for post-hydrocarbon economy, environmental, global warming and energy efficient issues with respect to technology. All of these new upcoming technologies also require rare earth elements. So it's because of all of these unique properties that these rare earth elements have, they're becoming very important for the globe, and that is the reason why these elements are very important. That is why US Army also took up such a decision, because China as of now is holding on to the major bulk of export with respect to rare earth elements in the world. So that's all for today. If you have any doubts or queries, you can write down in the comment section below. For additional information, you can please go on to our Current Affairs Plus website, which is www.neoiascap.com. So, thank you and good night.
Like, share and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Follow our website neoiascap.com for the detailed content and monthly prelims digest. Also join our Current Affairs exclusive test series through the website. And finally, participate in the daily Current Affairs Prelims infotainment quiz at our Telegram channel, that is Neo IAS Prelims, at 9:30 p.m. every day. Thank you.